I've made a few videos recently on cars that have been going up in value quite a lot, and some cars unfortunately are pretty much already far out of most people's price ranges. In this video I'm talking about 5 in particular that pretty much fit exactly that criteria, which is a real shame because one of them in particular I very nearly bought a few years ago. By very nearly bought, I couldn't afford it, but I wanted it really badly. Anyway, that's my nonsense. Let's jump straight into it. Remember to hit the like button if you like this kind of video and subscribe as well if you're new. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, there is a wide variety of cars on this list, and we're kicking off with the rally-inspired Ford Focus RS MK2, which has exploded in price even since I started this YouTube channel. It comes with a lovely 2.5 litre turbocharged inline-5 engine which makes 300 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, pretty decent for a front-wheel drive hot hatch of its age. And that is a bit of a shame. It's madness that it took Ford 2 generations of Focus RS to bring in the all-wheel drive 3rd gen, which the MK2 is already competing with and or ahead of in terms of second-hand price. Imagine if the MK2 had been all-wheel drive on top of the already incredible setup. It would have effectively been a rally car for the roads, and that's exactly what Ford wanted it to be. But less complaining, it's still a lovely modern classic, aesthetically very nice with the wider RS body kit and aero, as well as the more practical stuff like the suspension, brakes, LSD and the rest. It followed the hugely successful Mk1 RS, which Ford actually didn't expect the levels of interest in, which begs another question. Why have there been no RSs since the Mk3? Fast Ford lovers around the world want them, so where are they? I'm complaining again, sorry, but it's because these Ford Focus RSs are such well-loved cars and so cool for the money. These now start at just under £20,000, and nice examples would already set you back over £50,000, with the RS 500 examples almost reaching the £100,000 mark. There are some known problems including plenums, ECUs, torque mounts, leaking radiators and rust around the arches and boot, along with a bunch of others, but luckily they're well documented and usually preventable. We've got two cars taking fourth on this list together, mostly because they're effectively the same thing. It's the Porsche 987 Cayman R and Boxster Spyder, both of which come with a 3.4 litre flat 6 engine which makes 325 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in around 4.8 seconds, give or take, depending on PDK or manual. I find it so surprising that both of these cars are so reasonably priced still, considering the cars that they are similar to. The Cayman R is either the ancestor to the Cayman GT4s we've seen since with the 981 and 718 generations, or it's the poor man's version of a 911 991R, which is one of the most expensive modern 911s you can actually get your hands on. At the same time, the Boxster Spyder kicked off a run of further Boxster Spyders on following generations, and visually it's also relevant to the historic and more recent 911 Speedsters with its double humpback. The Cayman R was introduced in 2011, 2 years after the Boxster Spyder, which on release was the lightest Porsche available despite being a convertible. The Spyder was really focused around weight saving, as was the Cayman R, but the R benefited from Porsche's aero kit, some carbon fibre bucket seats which, if optioned, came from the 997 GT2, and lighter doors of the 997 GT3. If I was going for a spec on one of these, it would have to be with those seats, be manual rather than PDK, and have the body colour match to the interior parts, which I think looks really cool, with the standard alloys that are shared across both the Spyder and the R as well. The lowest you'll find either of these for now would be the Cayman R at £36,000, but the real growth has come with the Boxster, that's well over £50,000 at the top end now, when it was sub 30k not that long ago. This one should come as no surprise, as prices have actually fluctuated a fair bit in the past few years, but I had to include the BMW 1M in this video given it's already gained modern classic status for many people. It has a 3 litre twin turbocharged inline-6 engine attached, which makes 335 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. To give it its full name, the BMW 1 Series M Coupe walked so that the M2 could run. Of course, BMW couldn't name it the M1 in line with the rest of its M performance cars, as the M1 is of course that classic BMW supercar that is more similar to the i8 than anything else you'll see in more modern Bimmers, and much more expensive as well. It also came before BMW split out the 1 and 2 series, or hatchbacks and coupes, and same as today there is no hatchback equivalent, it only came as the coupe. It was only BMW M's second ever turbocharged engine, and it was mated exclusively to a manual transmission, making it all the more enthusiast friendly. When you add on that stunning wider body kit in line with M cars of the time, but with a classically boxy overall BMW look, it's so easy to see why this has become a collector's car today, and why we all should have bought bought them when they were available in the £30,000 region. Today at the bottom end, prices have been pretty stagnant for a while, so you're looking at around £40,000, but the best examples have now reached up to £90,000 in collector's spec with collector mileages. Fuel pumps and fuel injectors offer the main issues with these, but if you're buying one today, you're buying it because it's a modern classic and you're an enthusiast who wants to look after it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Quick reminder, if you are new here, do subscribe. I make 2 videos every single week, and hit the like button as it really helps me out. And I want to hear in the comments down below if you have ever bought a car that has gone up in value. Have you benefited from this kind of appreciation in cars? I know lots of people did over COVID. Has it happened to you? This is the car that I'm personally most salty about on this list, the Subaru Impreza P1, which I really wanted back in around 2016, long before I could afford one, but when prices were under £20,000. Now the cheapest one I could find is listed for £42,000, with £60,000 getting you one at the higher end. It comes with a 2-litre turbocharged Boxster 4 engine, which puts out the typically Japanese 276 brake horsepower, which means it will do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, helped by the fact it's the only all-wheel drive car on the list. The 22B remains the most popular and sought after Impreza, but it should come as no surprise the P1 has jumped up this much in value, considering the entire purpose of it existing came as Subaru wanted to create a ultimate Impreza, the Impreza to end all Imprezas. They reached out to their famous racing partner ProDrive, who have been responsible for many incredible race cars over the years, including a bunch of Scoobies, and said, make the best Impreza imaginable, and from that, the P1 was born. I wouldn't say it's as pretty as the 22B, but aesthetics wasn't really its bag. It was designed by Peter Stevens, who was involved with the McLaren F1, and his purpose was to make the aero work as effectively as possible, not make it pretty. Hence it doesn't have the wider wheel arches, and it generally looks like a bit more of a brutalist car than most other Imprezas, but of course the fact that, like the 22B, it's only got 2 doors makes it quite special. Sadly, I don't think we'll get these for under £50,000 for much longer, as prices have been utterly relentless for the past few years and show no signs of stopping. Finding a Mercedes SL65 AMG nowadays can be a hard task in and of itself, so good luck finding them in future. Outside the black editions, it is the top end of the R230 SL class and comes with a 6-litre twin turbocharged V12 engine, which makes 603 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. What an absolute monster. For all intents and purposes, in my opinion, this is basically a supercar. For example, that 4.1 second stated 0 to 60 has been shown as false by multiple reviewers. Car and Driver, for example, managed a 3.6 seconds 0 to 60 in it. It was also $176,000 when new in 2005, which is proper supercar money. Add on the absolutely ridiculous engine, which is not a million miles away from that you'll find in a Pagani Zonda, and you really do have a car worthy of at least some consideration when it comes to this supercar label. Of course, aesthetically, it's effectively the same as any other SL, and that's part of the problem with this car. The 603 brake horsepower wasn't too much for it, but it definitely feels overpowered due to a clear lack of traction. I've driven the SL65 AMG and it was incredibly fast on its own with under 500 brake horsepower, but the 65 is a whole different level, and many people have said anything you drive after the 65 feels underpowered in comparison. Of course, in reality, it's not actually a supercar, it's a Grand Tourer, and it does Grand Touring very well, and across all generations there are fewer than 100 total on the roads here in the UK, making it a very rare car for your money. I could only actually find one on Auto Trader listed for £30,000, but they're typically listed anywhere up to around the £50,000 to £60,000 mark. So if you guys enjoyed the video, if you did, a quick reminder to hit the like and subscribe buttons, I would really appreciate it. Massive thanks to the patrons for their support, and to you guys as well for watching, and if you want to watch another video on some cars that are much cheaper but I still think will go up in value, then click up here and subscribe down here.